what no one will tell you about becoming a paramedic. So I've been thinking about this for a while. I've been paramedic for quite a few years, and there's a few things that I wish people would have told me about becoming a paramedic. It's things that they may not have known. It's not their fault for not knowing these things, but I wish I still would have known it. The first thing that was abruptly bad when I found out that this happens with paramedics is that when you want to continue your education, let's say you've done your EMT thing, you've done your paramedic thing, and with the paramedic thing, it came with this associate's degree of emergency medical services. You've got a degree on the wall over here. You graduate with an associate's degree. It's so happy, it's so proud. Well, then you take that same degree to a 4-year university, and you go there and you say, hey, what can I roll this into to continue my education? I must be like 2 years into a nursing program already, right? I've got 2 years of college education. What they're going to tell you is no, that all that education that you got for your EMT and your paramedic, that little associate's degree, does not count for anything in any other degree program except for emergency medical services. What that means is you can go ahead and you can actually roll those credits into a make your own degree program, which generally has to do with fire services. But if you don't want to actually join the fire department or you want to escalate past fire services, your options are kind of limited. You can make your own degree, but I feel like when you make your own degree, you lessen the value because you're trying to fill a role, right? Like you're not trying to make something up. You're trying to fill a role to make money and provide something for our community. So I wasn't about the make your own degree program. So I wish someone would have known to tell me that the education doesn't necessarily roll over into another degree program. The second thing is the lack of pay compared to your actual skill level. So let's say I was working at Chick-fil-A, fast food restaurant, making just above minimum wage. Going from that to EMT was a substantial jump. Going from EMT to paramedic was a substantial jump. But what happens is you start at that role, and I think this happens with everything, but you get into this role, you get an upgrade in pay, you get an upgrade in pay. Well, I don't want to sound crazy when I say this, but you have to realize that there's certain skills that a paramedic can do that only 3 levels of licensure can do. A CRNA, or a doctor, a CRNA, and a paramedic, and that's intubate or rapid sequence intubate. Those are only 3 levels of license that can do that. A doctor makes over $100K a year. A CRNA makes over $100K a year. A paramedic will make about 50 to 60. And that's the high paying jobs. It's still one of the lowest paid professions out there. So you have this really high level of skill. You have this amazing job where you save people's lives, but you don't get to pay for it. And I don't know if you're like me out there. I have to, number one, be good at my job. I have to like my job, but I also have to have good pay for my job, or else it just doesn't add up. If I don't have one of those 3 things, I will not be happy in that role. And that's what happened to me. You get good at this job, you get really awesome experience and everything, and then you go, well, my buddy's making just as much as me climbing trees. Doesn't sound right. So then you start escalating. So I went to nursing school, and then as a nurse, you're like, okay, well now I'm working in the ER, but I've got my friend working in a clinic making 50% more than me. So now I'm working in a clinic. Not only do you have to like your job and be good at your job, you have to be well compensated for your job to enjoy it, and it just wasn't there for me in the paramedic stuff. And I wish someone would have told me that you're going to be doing these high level skills for medium low pay. The last thing that I wish someone would have told me is the experience. So this experience that you're going to get as an EMT or as a paramedic, any pre-hospital field, is going to change you, and it's either going to make you or break you, to be quite honest. There's something special about being the person that goes out into the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the county, and is responding to first people on the scene that actually are the professionals to some bad wreck or a heart attack or a respiratory failure or something crazy. There's something special about being able to be that person, go into the situation, and be able to do whatever you have to do to get from there to the hospital. You don't have any backup. You can call help, but it's you. It's you in the back of the ambulance. There's two people in that ambulance. One has to drive. One has to be in the back taking care of the patient. If you can be that person, that experience is like flipping a switch on, and it makes you realize that you can honestly do anything that you want to do. There is no limit. If you can handle that, you can handle anything. That's a big deal. That's a really, really big deal. You might ask, Logan, would you still go through EMT and paramedic school if you knew then what you know now? Honestly, I would. Because of those experiences, it's really given me the confidence through the whole nursing thing, through being in these, like, I'm working at a dialysis clinic where there is legitimately no backup resources. And that experience gives me the confidence to be able to handle all the stuff. I'm not scared to go into, like, when I work traumas. Like, if you have the skills as an EMT, really EMT to be honest, but there's something special about the paramedic being the person in the back. So if you can be like a BLS truck only, where you can also be the person in the back that handles the situation, I think it would give you the same experience. But if you have those skills to, ABC your way out, bag your way out of a situation, compress your way out of a situation, whatever you have to do to get out of that situation, those are the skills you need, and I think I would still do it. I really do. I do wish, like I said, someone would have told me, hey, you're doing this for the experience. This is not education that's going to build onto something else. This is not a end-all be-all unless you want to go work for a fire department and stay at that fire department. Because the fire department, you can't transfer from Memphis fire to Chicago fire without a lateral transfer. And you're like, a lateral transfer, that's an interesting word. Basically, if I've been a nurse for 10 years, I go work in another hospital, they're going to pay me for 10 years worth of experience. In a perfect world. As a firefighter, that's not the case. You start all the way over at the pay as a private. Especially in like the city of Memphis when you go from department to department to department, which makes any less sense because you already know the system. And I guess it's just a way of them trying to keep people in the department. So that's another thing I wish I'd known, because if you want to be a firefighter, you're going to work an ABC shift, 56 hours average a week, only 10 days. They always say that. I only work 10 days a month. That doesn't matter. Your average is 56 hours a week that you're away from your family, not including your drive time. Or held overtime or anything like that. Doesn't include any of that. That's just your time that you're at that fire station. It's legitimately an ABC shift. There's 3 shifts for 24/7, 365 a week. That means that's a third of your life that you spend away from your family. Again, no one told me these things. All they say 10 days a month. That's all I work is 10 days a month. But are you going to get woke up in the middle of the night? Who knows? That's a little bit of a tangent. I'm just saying, it was a good experience. I'm glad I had that experience around those people because it did teach me a lot. It taught me how to talk to patients. It taught me how to respond in emergency situations, how to be the person that has to step in and step up. Because generally, I'm kind of like a go with the flow guy unless things are going wrong. If it's going wrong, that gave me the tools and the skills to be able to step into that situation and to be able to say, hey, no. So I think I'd do it again, honestly. Or I wouldn't do healthcare at all. But that's a whole nother deal. Guys, remember, like, subscribe, and share with a friend. This might be helpful if they're thinking about going to paramedic school. It's good things to know. And if you want to see more stuff like this, please let me know. Write me a little comment. And always, keep your corn on the cob.